I said yes when my head wasn't right. Too tired to think, too weak to fight. Bad days piling, stress on my mind. I spoke too fast, left love behind.
Once upon a time, there were two hearts that belonged together, or so it seemed. Eunice and Daniel were friends first, laughing together, sharing secrets, and slowly discovering how much they enjoyed each other's presence. Their friendship was effortless, like the gentle flow of a river, easy, familiar, comforting. And yet, as easy as it seemed, life has a way of showing us things we never expected. They began to notice small things about each other, little habits, tiny quirks that didn't matter as friends, but now, as lovers, began to stand out. Daniel would sometimes disappear into his thoughts, quiet for hours, while Eunice would want to share everything on her mind. She laughed at his seriousness at first, but the quiet moments slowly began to feel like distance. But love made them stay. They believed it was enough to bridge any gap. They believed caring, laughter, and shared memories could overcome anything. And for a while, it did. Every glance, every smile, every small touch felt like a promise that they would always be together. And yet, deep inside, a quiet question lingered, one they hadn't asked, one they hadn't thought was necessary: is love alone truly enough? They didn't know yet that life sometimes tests love in ways that words alone cannot fix. That small misunderstandings, unspoken feelings, and avoided conversations could quietly grow into a storm. Eunice remembered the first time Daniel had made her laugh so hard her cheeks hurt. Daniel remembered the first time Eunice had comforted him without saying a word. These moments, small as they were, became the threads of their bond, threads they believed could never break. And yet, they didn't know how quickly those threads could fray. Life had begun its quiet walk, showing them sides of each other they hadn't seen as friends. But for now, those moments were theirs, gentle, warm, filled with hope. They would hold hands and dream about the future, imagining a life together, never suspecting that challenges lay ahead. For now, the sun still shone on them, laughter still filled the air, and the world seemed simple. But love, as beautiful as it is, sometimes needs more than feelings. It needs patience, understanding, courage to speak, courage to listen. And in the quiet moment of that first chapter, they had yet to learn that lesson. As weeks turned into months, the ease of their early love began to shift. Small habits, once endearing, now caused quiet frustration. Daniel would retreat into his work or his thoughts, avoiding the conversations Eunice longed to have. She would try, softly, gently, to open the door to deeper talks, about the future, about plans, about life, but Daniel would smile, nod, and let the moment pass. It wasn't that he didn't care. He cared deeply. But he believed his love, his attention, and his care were enough. Eunice, however, felt something missing, a silence growing between them that neither dared to speak aloud. And so, the first quarrels began. At first, they were small, a disagreement over dinner plans, a joke misunderstood, a quiet moment stretched too long. They would sigh, brush it off, and continue. But beneath the surface, Eunice's frustration was slowly building, like water rising in a glass. She wanted to speak. She wanted clarity. But Daniel's quiet avoidance made her feel unheard, unseen, even in the love they shared. Every little unspoken thought became heavier, more pressing, and yet still, the words never came out. Daniel, too, felt the tension. He noticed Eunice growing distant at times, her laughter quieter, her eyes searching for answers he didn't know how to give. He loved her more than words could express, but he was afraid. Afraid that a deep conversation might spark conflict. Afraid he wouldn't have the perfect words. Eunice, on the other hand, carried her thoughts like fragile glass, afraid to shatter the love they had, yet aching for the connection they had lost. She longed for a conversation that would bring clarity, and every avoidance made her heart sink a little further. Soon, the quarrels became more frequent. Minor jokes were taken the wrong way. Every small frustration, every unspoken word, added weight to their hearts. One evening, while watching a movie together, a tiny comment sparked a fight that neither could have predicted. Eunice teased Daniel about a character on the screen, harmless, she thought. But Daniel, quiet and sensitive, misunderstood her words. And just like that, laughter turned into silence. For days passed without a word, their love caught between pride and misunderstanding. During this time, Eunice's friends began to speak their own truths, or what they believed were truths. Love is a scam, they whispered. You deserve better. You deserve someone who will talk, who will give you everything immediately. At first, Eunice ignored them. She trusted her heart. But frustration has a way of softening resolve. Her thoughts drifted to other possibilities, other people who might notice her needs in ways Daniel had not. And yet, her heart still belonged to him. Every smile from another felt hollow, every kind gesture empty, because love, the real love she felt for Daniel, could not be replaced. Daniel, unaware of Eunice's inner turmoil, was secretly planning something. A Valentine's surprise that would show her, in every detail, just how much she meant to him. He recreated the places that held their happiest memories. He planned each decoration with care, every gift a reflection of their shared laughter, every moment meant to remind Eunice of their bond. He believed that, if she could only see the depth of his love, all their quarrels would dissolve. And he was right, if only timing had not turned against them. Meanwhile, Eunice's path began to cross more with Bale, a distant relative of a friend, wealthy, attentive, yet never feeling the emptiness in her heart. She laughed with him, went out for meals, attended parties. And still, Daniel lingered in her mind. Every kind gesture from Bale felt hollow, a shadow compared to the love she had with Daniel. And still, the question haunted her, would Daniel ever notice her frustration? Would he reach out before it was too late? Both of them were moving through parallel worlds. Daniel, crafting the perfect surprise, unaware that his beloved was drifting. Eunice, drifting among friends and fleeting attentions, unaware of the depth of what Daniel was preparing. Every step closer to Valentine's Day pulled them further apart, a delicate balance of love, misunderstanding, and timing. And the audience feels it, the slow ache of anticipation, The heartbreak of near misses, the weight of what could go wrong. Eunice's friends began to speak more persistently. Love doesn't pay the bills, they said. You deserve someone who notices your frustration, who understands without being asked. And though Eunice knew they were wrong, a small seed of doubt had begun to grow inside her heart. She still loved Daniel. She still longed for his words, his attention. But the quiet frustration of weeks began to feel heavier. The silence between them, louder than any argument. It was then that she began seeing Bill, a distant, wealthy relative of her friend. He was kind, attentive, offering gestures of care that Daniel had delayed. Eunice smiled at him, laughed, but in the quiet of her heart, she felt nothing but the echo of Daniel's love. Yet, the temptation was there, subtle, quiet, a distraction from the ache of being unheard. Meanwhile, Daniel spent hours planning. Every detail mattered, the restaurant, the decorations, the gifts. Every choice reflected their memories, their love, the laughter they had shared. He believed that if she could just see, she would remember, she would understand. But Eunice remained unaware, wandering through moments with Beo, her heart torn between anger, frustration, and lingering love. With each passing day, Eunice felt the weight of her choices. She laughed at parties, smiled with Beo, but each smile was tinged with guilt. She longed for Daniel, craved his attention, wished for his call. Yet her pride held her back. She believed he should be the one to reach out first, the one to bridge the silence. And so, a quiet war raged inside her, unseen by the world. Days passed, and the distance between them grew. Daniel, focused on his plans, assumed she would see the love in his efforts. Eunice, caught between hope and frustration, slowly allowed herself to entertain the idea of someone else, even if her heart remained loyal. And so, Valentine's Day approached, silently, like a storm on the horizon. Daniel spent hours meticulously planning. The restaurant where they had their first date, reserved. The park where they had laughed under the apple tree, recreated in small details. Every rose, every note, every decoration whispered her name, a promise of love and hope. He imagined the look on her face, the warmth of her smile, the joy in her eyes, all for her, and only for her. Meanwhile, Eunice went out with Beo. They shopped, laughed, dined, and yet, the emptiness was palpable. No laughter reached her heart. No touch felt familiar. Every step she took, she felt a quiet tug toward Daniel, a longing she could not escape. Her friends cheered her on, but even their voices were distant echoes compared to the love she had once known. And all the while, Daniel moved through his plans, unaware of her presence elsewhere. Every gift, every note, every careful detail of his surprise was a message of love, a plea for understanding, a hope for forgiveness. The audience can feel the irony, how close they were, yet worlds apart. Every second stretches, every heartbeat matters, every step toward Valentine's Day heavy with anticipation. The restaurant glimmered in soft light. Roses, candles, their photographs carefully placed, each item a whisper from the past, a memory recreated with love. And yet, she had not arrived. She was with Beo, steps away, unaware of what awaited her. Every glance she cast at her surroundings unknowingly brought her closer to the truth, though she could not yet see it. And then, in the quiet of the morning, she saw it. A pillow embroidered with her name. A banner reading, "I'm sorry, please forgive me." Photos of them, memories captured and displayed with care. She froze. Every heartbeat thundered in her chest. The truth hit her like a wave. This was all for her, all this love, all this effort, all this planning, and she had almost let it slip away. Beo noticed her hesitation. He reached for her, tried to guide her hand, tried to offer attention, but she pulled back. Her eyes were fixed on Daniel's creation, on the proof of his love. Her chest tightened, her throat constricted. She wanted to run, to call him, to hold him, but it was too late. Daniel had seen her with another man and had left quietly, heartbroken. A call came through shortly after, from the restaurant service. Happy Valentine's Day, Eunice, a voice said. Daniel asked us to tell you how much he loves you, how much he regrets the silence, and how much he hoped you would see his heart today. Tears streamed down her face.
Too tired to think, too weak to fight. Bad days piling, stress on my mind. I spoke too fast, left love behind. I should have logged out, taken my time, met you face to face, read the signs. Now every night I replay the scene. One wrong word ruined everything. I miss your voice, I miss your face. I trade my pride for one embrace. I asked to meet, my heart on hold, scared you were already cold.
She wished she had been patient. She wished she had listened. She wished she could turn back time, but the clock had already moved forward. 4 days later, they met. Eunice's tears fell freely, her voice trembling. I'm so sorry, Daniel. I'm so sorry for everything. Daniel took her hand, held her close, his voice soft but full of warmth. I forgive you, Eunice. We'll do better, together. And in that embrace, all the hurt, all the mistakes, all the silence melted away. They promised each other patience, understanding, and the courage to speak when it mattered. Every quarrel, every silence, had become a lesson about love, about communication, about the fragile beauty of two hearts intertwined. And for the first time in weeks, their hearts truly breathed again. Love, tested and strained, had returned, stronger, wiser, and full of hope. And so, their story reminds us all. Love is not always enough. It needs patience. It needs understanding. It needs courage to speak, and courage to listen. Eunice and Daniel learned that sometimes, even a few days of silence can feel like an eternity. But in forgiveness, in effort, and in the choice to cherish one another, love can always find its way back.